What's going on there, YouTube? And welcome back to another comic book video. This is the channel where we sit down and cover different comic book stories from different comic book companies. Today we're going to jump back over to DC Comics and continue our coverage over the New 52. Now, the New 52 was DC's way of kind of giving new readers a chance to jump into comics with a brand new universe. It's long gone now, but back in the New 52, they did give Superboy his own title, Connor Kent. Now, the problem was, if you want to cover Superboy, you had to jump back and forth between Teen Titans and Superboy because Superboy was on the Teen Titans team. So in this video and the next one after this one, we're going to kind of jump back and forth between Teen Titans and Superboy, because if you want to know about Superboy, you had to read Teen Titans as well. So I do hope you enjoy today's comic book video, and if you do, hit that like button down below and subscribe. But here we go. Now, to begin today's video, we do pick up with Teen Titans #1. Now, we do pick up with Bart Allen. Now, before the New 52, Bart Allen was actually the great-grandson or grandson of Barry Allen. But with the New 52 at this point being a new universe, we had no idea what's the story about Bart Allen just yet. But we now know here in the present day, he is Kid Flash. But with Bart Allen being Kid Flash, is him still being that overconfident character and trying to handle problems before thinking about how to handle those problems. What I mean by that is, you have Bart Allen arriving at a situation where a building is on fire. Of course, there already have some firefighters there trying to handle the fire. But with Bart Allen rushing into the house, he does cause a backdrift. Now, a backdrift is when a fire is happening, but the fire already used up all the oxygen in the room. Except when air actually touches that fire, well, it caused a small explosion. Except this time it caused a big explosion. And so, of course, the fire went so out of control, it caused an explosion and sent Bart Allen flying and possibly killing some of the firefighters. And so, right off the bat, we see that Bart Allen is technically not ready to be a hero. We do pick up with Tim Drake. Now, for new fans out there, Tim Drake is better known as the Red Robin. Now, Red Robin was actually the third Robin to Batman after Dick Grayson and Jason Todd. But with Tim Drake right now, we see him in his penthouse watching the news. One about Kid Flash, but also other pieces of news from other channels telling him that right now, across the world, teenagers who are metahumans, meaning that they have powers, have been kidnapped left and right. At the same time, the country, which is America, is freaking out because more and more metahumans are popping up, especially teenagers. Now, while he's in his penthouse, he is greeted by some random mysterious man. Now, we are going to learn his name later on, but for right now, we have no idea who he is. Now, the reason why he's after Tim Drake is because Tim Drake is actually trying to stop them, because this is the group that has been going around and actually kidnapping teenage metahumans, and they're known as Nowhere. Yes, their name is Nowhere. But you do have Tim Drake tell them that today they will not be able to capture him because he set his penthouse to explode, which of course gives them time to escape and make them realize that they have messed up trying to come after him. After that, you have Tim Drake go find Wonder Girl because Nowhere is looking for her. Now, this Wonder Girl is actually Cassie Sandmark. Before the New 52, you did have two different Wonder Girls. The first one being Donna Troy and the second one being Cassie Sandmark. Now, Cassie Sandmark is actually the daughter of Zeus because once again, Zeus did mess with a human. This time, her human mother. But in the New 52, we had no idea what is her origin. But at this moment right now, you do have Tim Drake coming to Cassie Sandmark to tell her, hey, listen, this evil organization known as Nowhere is coming for you next because you are a meta-human. Now at first, she does try to play it off that she is not one, but of course you have Tim Drake tell her, listen, I was able to track you down because I was using Nowhere's tech, and they figured out that you are a meta-human. Now, they do send in a small force of military people to go after her, and that is the moment you see Wonder Girl be Wonder Girl. She just comes out of nowhere and takes down everything around them, and that has Tim Drake realize that he has some kind of powerhouse here now to be on his future team possibly. But after she does that, you do have Tim Drake and Wonder Girl kind of come to an agreement to say, okay, let me come with you to figure out what we can do to stop Nowhere. Except we do jump over to a random building and we pick up with our mysterious character that we met earlier who was talking to Tim Drake, letting us know this building belongs to Nowhere. But you do have our mysterious character talking to another new character who at this point right now, we have no idea who she is. But he is here because he tells her that he needs her special project. Of course, this special project is the clone of Superman, Superboy. And this is where we jump over to Superboy #1. Now, we do jump over to Superboy #1. Now, technically, Superboy does take place before Teen Titans #1, but I kind of want to switch those because I want to cover Superboy's origin after covering the idea of the Teen Titans coming together because it leads perfectly into what our mysterious character wants to do. But with Superboy #1, we pick up with Superboy being tested on. They're trying to figure out if they can find some brain activity because they made a clone, a half Kryptonian, half human DNA clone. The problem is every single time they run a brain activity test on him, they're unable to find any kind of brain activity. Now, you do have Superboy tell us that, hey, he's alive. He's awake. His brain just works differently because his brain goes across his entire body except being located inside his head. And that is why they're unable to locate any kind of brain activity. But we do pick up with Dr. White telling our mysterious redhead character from earlier that the higher ups feel like they should go ahead and kill off the clone because they're getting nowhere with the process of making a complete clone because they're unable to find any brain activity. Except once they begin the process of getting rid of Superboy by injecting some kind of black goo inside his body, that is the moment where you have Superboy powers just activate, and he goes on a complete rampage throughout the lab. He kills every single member of that lab team except the redhead character because she was kicked out of the lab by Dr. White, the one who said the higher ups want to kill off Superboy because they're unable to find any kind of brain activity. But of course, when they had begun the process of trying to kill him, well, his powers activate, and he had no idea how to control his powers, and so he wiped out every single lab team member. But also, because he is a clone, this is technically his first moment of being alive. And so he has no morals right now because he doesn't know what's right and wrong. He has to learn that. And so this moment shows that it's going to be a long process for Superboy. But after he kills every single member of the lab team, you do have our redhead character walk back into the lab and tell him to calm down. Of course, he does crash down on top of her because he does not know how to control his powers. He was just floating in midair and then bam, just like that, back on the ground. But here comes the big thing. The next section picks up 1 month later, and we see Connor Kent, our Superboy, living a normal life. What I mean by that, he's in Kansas. He's your regular high school boy. He's trying to learn how to be a regular person. Matter of fact, he does run into Rose Wilson, the daughter to Slade Wilson, Deathstroke. And so it makes you think something must have happened between the moment he broke out of his container up to this moment right here, because this is a huge jump. But as he's going through his daily life, there is a building on fire. There's a lady trapped in the house. Except him and Rose, as they're walking home from school, completely ignore the lady who's crying for help, who's dying in the fire. That's strike one, or strike 1, 2, and 3 actually, of what in the world is going on. But you have him go home to his regular day parents, talking to them like this is a normal day for him. But here comes the big plot twist though. We learn that this is a virtual reality as a way to test Superboy to figure out how would he act in the real world. So right now, with him passing that house in the VR, that house that was on fire and a lady was trapped in that fire dying, their next goal to figure out, why did he do that? Why does he lack empathy? Now, we finally do learn the name of our mysterious redhead character, the one that cares so much for Superboy, and her name is Caitlin Fairchild. And we're going to learn more about her, like why she cares for him and her secrets, why she's here with Nowhere. But you see her kind of getting tired because the rest of her lab team still doesn't believe in the Superboy project completely. Now, there is another character we have to mention, and his name is Dr. Umber. Now, Dr. Umber is one of the scientists on Dr. Fairchild's team, but he's also a double agent in a way, because as he is gathering information about Nowhere and the Superboy project, he's trying to feed that information over to Lois Lane, because Lois Lane is wondering what is going on with the Nowhere organization as well. Except he only feeds her small information as a way to keep himself alive, because if word gets out of what Nowhere is actually doing, they can pinpoint back where the information came from, which is Dr. Umber. But he knows if they do that, they will kill him. And so right now, he's just trying to give her just small information that will please her, but also keep him alive. Meaning that he's not telling Lois Lane about the Superboy project. Now, with everything happening in Superboy #1, it does lead up to Teen Titans #1. What I mean by that is, we do finally learn the name of our mysterious character, the one that has been going around kidnapping teenage metahumans for Nowhere, doing all their dirty work. His name is Templar, and this is him coming to Dr. Fairchild asking her, listen, I need your Superboy project, so I need you to release him because I have a teen's problem. Of course, a new team called the Teen Titans is out there trying to basically stop us. I need Superboy to stop them. And so that is where Superboy #1 actually ends, and we jump back over to Teen Titans now. But getting into Teen Titans #2, we actually see Bart Allen has been captured. We can tell right here, it could be Nowhere or he's in regular prison, but we know it has to be Nowhere that captured him. But if you're wondering how they caught him, well, remember that after he tried to be a hero by stopping that fire, well, he caused an explosion that sent him flying, crashing down and knocking him out. They took that time to grab him and lock him up. The next page is more of Tim Drake and Wonder Girl still hanging out, but at this point Wonder Girl kind of changed her mind where she's not really down to help Tim Drake out. Instead, she wants him gone, but she's going to be nice to let him crash at her place for one day, but in the morning he has to be out of there. But for Tim Drake, he's still hoping that he can find a way to convince her to help him take down Nowhere before Nowhere grabs more teenage metahumans. And with Teen Titans #2, it does tell us that, hey, Superboy is going to appear sooner or later, because the next page shows him looking over footage over Wonder Girl, trying to figure out how he can take her down. This is also the moment we learn that he has telekinetic powers. That was something new when it came to the New 52 for Superboy. But you have Fairchild telling Templar that she is concerned that sending him out on his first mission could cause a lot of problems for them down the road when it comes to Superboy and how his mind works. But he will take down Wonder Girl very soon. But getting back over to Tim Drake and Wonder Girl, you do have Tim Drake, trying to actually impress Wonder Girl. He was kind of hoping that she would fall in love with him because he did save her life. But for Wonder Girl, she sees him as just a random nice guy that saved her life, and her being nice to let him sleep on her couch. But the next page, he does wake up trying to figure out what would be the next move for Nowhere, and that is when he sees some news report about how a young girl's sister had disappeared, and this lead into our next Teen Titan character. Now, the reason why Tim Drake went to that site of the news report is because in that news report, a bunch of teenagers are mentioning that there is some kind of bug-like creature going around town, but only a few people have seen this bug-like creature. But the reason why Tim Drake came here to this site is because the young girl who on that news report, she is the twin sister of that bug-like creature. And Tim Drake figured out because he said the same time your sister just randomly left school to go to London for some kind of program, that's the same day there was sightings of the random bug-like creature known as Skitter. Can you tell me more? And you have this young girl tell Tim Drake that her sister has some kind of ability where she does wrap herself up in some kind of cocoon, but comes out like a bug-like creature, except she is not herself when she is in her bug-like creature form. And so for Tim Drake, he knows that means that Nowhere could be coming after her soon, which this young girl tells her that there were some government people here earlier talking to her about Skitter, the bug-like creature. And we now know that the people the girl was talking to, the government people, was of course Nowhere. And Nowhere had already sent in their group of men to go capture the bug-like creature known as Skitter. Now, here's the thing. The group they sent in is actually a set of brothers, 3 brothers. Now, these 3 brothers share the same ability. Teleportation. They can teleport. I just butchered that word. Anyways, they can teleport. Now, here's the catch. They can only teleport through one of their brothers' bodies, meaning that if one brother is in Kentucky and the other brother is in London, well, that brother in Kentucky can technically teleport to London by teleporting through his brother's body. Now, right now, Tim Drake is Red Robin in the sewers looking for the bug-like creature as well. He runs into 2 brothers of the Thrice group and he fights against them, except you had the 3rd brother tell his 2 other brothers that he had found the bug-like creature known as Skitter. Except right when the 2 brothers are about to teleport to the 3rd brother's location, well, something happens to them. They all kind of freak out. Now, Red Robin is able to find Skitter. Now, Skitter's real name is Celine, but for right now, I'm going to call her Skitter. And you have her in her bug-like form. Now, remember what I said earlier. When it comes to the character Skitter, when she's in her bug-like form, she really can control it. It's kind of like Kurt Connors. When he is Kurt Connors, he's good to go. But when Kurt Connors turns into the lizard, he can't control that. And so right now for Celine, in her bug-like form, she cannot control this form. And with all of that being said, we see her beginning to attack Red Robin. Now, out of nowhere, you do have Wonder Girl appear. This kind of shows that maybe Wonder Girl is down to help out Tim Drake. Yes, she does say that she owes him one because earlier he did save her life from Nowhere, but at the same time it does seem that maybe she kind of wants to help out Tim Drake. But of course, they are able to knock out Skitter, and their next goal to leave here and hopefully move on before more members of Nowhere do appear. But then out of nowhere, we do jump back over to Kid Flash, and we see Kid Flash being able to break out of his prison cell, beginning the process to run around the prison hoping to find a way out. But then he runs into another prison cell. He looks inside, opens the door. It's a young girl who's right now unable to control her powers, and this girl name is Solstice. And we are about to learn a tad bit more about her powers and her as well. But here we go. Solstice is now here. Now, in the opening of Teen Titans number 3, we actually pick up with Kid Flash, Bart Allen, trying to escape the prison with Solstice. Now, when it comes to the character Solstice, her powers are based around light, meaning that she is able to manipulate light around her, so she can fly, make light around her, and also shoot beams of light. But with that being said, it is Kid Flash trying to get her and him out of that prison. But then she realized something. They have no idea where they at. And so when they leave the prison and they run outside, they come to find out that they're somewhere where they're in the icy mountains, and they crash land deeper in the mountains because Kid Flash lost his traction. And so now it's like, where in the world is Kid Flash and Solstice? Now we do pick up with a new character. This character name is Bonker, and we're going to learn more about him as we go through this book. But with Bonker right now, he's trying to catch a free ride on a train. That is the moment he does run into what he sees, a cocoon hanging off the roof of the train. Of course, this is Skitter, who's right now just hiding in her cocoon to hopefully heal up. Then a old man comes behind him to scare him, hoping to learn more of why Bonker is here for. Of course, this old man is Tim Drake in disguise, but this is Bonker meeting Tim Drake and Skitter on this train. There is a page that tells us that Wonder Girl is pretending to be a nurse so she can interrogate one of the Thrice brothers who is in a hospital. The other two have been moved far apart from this brother, and so of course this is Wonder Girl hoping to gather some kind of information from this brother of Thrice to learn more about Nowhere. And then there is another page that shows us that Kid Flash and Solstice are okay. Matter of fact, Solstice learned how to control her powers and give her a brief moment to learn how to fly, except she kind of forgets how to control her flight ability and they crash land somewhere else in the icy mountains. Now, getting back over to Tim Drake, Red Robin, and Bonker here, this is the moment where you have Red Robin at first try to learn more about Bonker before he reveals that he is not an old man, that he is Red Robin. But the problem is Red Robin kind of jumps to conclusions because he thinks that Bonker actually works for Nowhere, meaning that he thinks that he should go out of his disguise and actually beat up on Bonker before Bonker is able to grab him and Skitter. He has no idea that Bonker is actually on the run as well, but for different reasons. But after a couple more panels, that is when you have Bonker revealed to Red Robin, like, hey man, I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't work for Nowhere. Matter of fact, I'm one of your biggest fans of all time, which is kind of cool to see. Now, their conversation does get interrupted because out of nowhere, the train just stops. And when they look outside the train, they come to find out there is a group of people surrounding the train, and this group of people have been brainwashed. They're being mind controlled right now. And so you have Red Robin actually figure out they must be mind controlled by Nowhere. And Nowhere wants these people to grab Red Robin, Bonker, and Skitter. And so you have Red Robin actually ask Bonker to protect Skitter, who's right now in her cocoon, while he goes find a transmitter to stop the mind controlling going on at the moment. Except while Bonker is doing that and Red Robin is actually able to find that transmitter and shut it off, well, that is the moment he does get attacked just for one page by a character named Dietrich. Now, reason why I said one page, because after Dietrich shows up in this scene, the next page, he's gone. Red Robin is flying back to the train, making it seem that he had easily defeated Dietrich, and the people who were being mind controlled, they're all good now, and they leave. But then you have Bonker tell Red Robin he has some great news. That Celine, aka the Skitter, is back in her human form, no longer in her bug form like she was in the last issue. And so is Tim Drake wondering, okay, how do I talk to her though? Now the last page shows us Kid Flash and Solstice somehow finding a city in the middle of this icy mountain area. Except right when they find this city, that's when it's covered back up with more snow, leaving us wondering where in the world are they. But this is where we are going to end today's comic book video, and this actually leads us into a fight between Superboy and Wonder Girl down the road. But with that being said, I do hope you enjoyed today's comic book video, and if you do, hit that like button down below and subscribe. Also, if you have any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But I do hope you enjoyed today's comic book video.